Good morning, YouTube. What's going on? It's Mesa Sean back at it with some Destiny 2. Okay, folks, this is part 2 to the video that I uploaded last night, where we will go over the rest of the things coming out of Game Informer regarding Destiny 2 Forsaken. Now, if you did miss last night's video, I will link it and annotate it on screen, but I cover this new exotic auto rifle, all the details on the 9 new supers we are getting, Escalation Protocol, that's coming with Forsaken, also a Spider NPC, changes to the ammo economy, and also changes to the weapon slots. One example is your Hawthorne's Field Forged Shotgun. It's not going to be a power weapon. It's going to be a power weapon, but it's going to be in your primary or kinetic slot. All right, enough of my babble. Let's get into the rest of this Game Informer coverage. Now, since I have the full article in my possession, because if you're a digital subscriber, you can download it. I think I pay 19 bucks a year or something, but I have the full article. So I'm going to read some quotes from the article, but then also a wonderful person on Reddit bullet pointed everything that I want to go over in this video, and his Redditor name is Ask Me About My Patreon. I will link him in the description. So we have 2 different destinations, the Tangled Shore, and then we have the Dreaming City. The Dreaming City is where the raid is and all of the end game content. So some quotes here from the article. The Dreaming City is the long hidden home of the Awoken and acts as an inspirational location with secrets, new activities, a new raid, and dynamic content that changes week to week. Scott Taylor goes on to say, what you come to learn through the campaign is that everyone is trying to get to the Dreaming City. Unlike recent expansions, there are threads that you lean toward the end of the campaign that are only fully paid off once you beat the raid. So let's go through some bullet points on what you need to know about the Dreaming City. First off, you cannot enter the Dreaming City until you have completed the campaign. There will be a quest right after the campaign that will open up access to the location. However, difficulty might be too high in certain areas initially for most players. Now, in terms of size, it's about the size of Nessus, and you can use your Sparrow to get around the Dreaming City. I'm pretty excited about that, guys. When we think about Mars and we think about, of course, Mercury, yeah, we need a big destination, and not only do we have one big destination, we're getting 2, the Tangled Shore also. Now, here's a really interesting quote from the article, and here's where I need you to help me in the comments section. Speculate. Listen to this one here. Virtually drawn from the pages of a classic fantasy novel, this is the elven homeland under threat from an insidious dragon that has infected its heart. Now, I cannot say that I've read many fantasy novels, but are they trying to say that, okay, there's a big dragon that's going to be the centerpiece of perhaps the raid or this Dreaming City? Or are they just trying to draw some comparisons to fantasy novels where there is a big dragon? I don't know, guys. Help me out in the comments section. Now, some more bullet points here. The destination itself, it's going to exist across dual planes, and it says can be pulled into an ascendant realm with taken foes. Now, Game Informer goes on to say that it will take weeks to fully unravel the mysteries of the Dreaming City. Also, they say that the Dreaming City will literally change from one week to the next along a 3-week cycle, as Petravenge, she's going to relocate over time. Also, a great secret awaits discovery at the end of the cycle as the destinations become, quote-unquote, more and more cursed. Let's read into that, folks. Now, in last night's video, as I mentioned, I went over all the details for the 9 new supers, but they're not going to be available right away when Forsaken hits. Here's a quote from Scott Taylor. On the subclasses right now, there are 2 diamonds on the right at the top and bottom of the screen. We are essentially inserting a 3rd one. We will probably deliver 3 on day 1 and have the others take a little bit longer than players are used to. Imagine 1 or 2 weeks before you can even earn the next batch. They will not be available on day 1. Now let's talk about mods. We finally got some interesting information on how they're going to work come September 4th. First off, mods are recoverable from dismantled legendary gear. They're going to serve as the player's way of improving and customizing even beyond random rolls. Now, they also report in this article that we're going to get fewer mods, but they're going to be more interesting. They're going to act as a way of doubling down on weapons that we really like. They also said that mods will feature fewer conditionals that limit what class or weapon type that you can apply that mod to. And they said that most of the mods that they used or learned about, they will allow you to specialize a piece of gear into a preferred playstyle. And they use an example of hipfire or airborne accuracy or extra damage to vehicles. And also in the original VIDOC for Forsaken, not VIDOC, VIDOC, that's what Deej calls it. We saw a perk on one of the class items where it says does more damage to enemies while on the Dreaming City. The new power cap is going to be 600, and no, it's not going to be 605. I know a lot of people, including myself, are speculating, okay, 600 power, but with mods, that will make it 605. Nope. Mods will no longer boost an item by 5 power points. Now, we don't have too much details in terms of these new perks, but they do say here, perks are going to be new and different. Well, I hope they're new and I hope they're better than what we have now, because frankly, right now, what do we look for? We look for explosive payload, rampage, outlaw, kill clip, things like that. I hope they make some really good ones. They also say that the actual mechanic of random rolls will be the same as it was in Destiny 1. Now, they also are bringing something back, sort of, like the old Grimoire score. It says here, also confirmed, you will now have a Triumph score that's akin to the Grimoire score from Destiny 1. This also plays into the special titles you can unlock if you complete lots of Triumphs in particular areas, which has been mentioned before. And there are allegedly about a dozen of those titles. All right, next up, the director and weekly resets are getting totally changed. Now, we don't know what it's going to look like, but they do say in the article that the director screen has been totally redesigned. They say here less focus on milestones, and they want to make it more intuitive as a guide to meaningful content. More organic approach to playing how you want, progressing no matter how you prefer to play. But they did say on the main screen that there will be a Crucible, Vanguard, and also a Gambit node. And it says all of those activities and flashpoints, they're going to refresh every 4 days. So it looks like no longer a weekly reset, but more of a 4-day reset. However, raids, they're still going to remain on a weekly cycle. Daily heroic missions are back, and they're going to appear on their respective destinations. Also, individual strikes can now be picked again. So if you have a strike that you like, and hopefully they start adding more and more strike-specific loot, you could just go farm that strike over and over. And I really hope that you can just go in and choose the difficulty for that particular strike. Let's talk about the lore for Destiny 2 Forsaken. So, looks like the lore will be its own category within the Triumphs system. Forsaken will introduce a bevy of new written stories to chase, both in new and old locations. Dozen of lore fragments to gather, between 10 to 15 distinct stories, and it looks like all of it's going to be readable in-game. Now, we're getting a new Crucible game mode, and that's going to be called Breakthrough. This is going to be a competitive game mode, and we're getting 4 new maps with Forsaken. 3 of these maps are kind of designed for this new game mode. Here are some bullet points on the Crucible. In addition to the changes coming this summer regarding 6v6 quick play and Rumble always in a permanent playlist, they specify that for the first time, Crucible improvements are going to be decoupled from content expansions. What they mean by that is that they're able to evolve the Crucible at a faster pace and react more quickly than they could in the past. Now, when I read into that, I think I read into it that it means more sandbox changes more often, which I think that really needs to happen. I think we went far too long. Look, the sandbox got some really nice updates this past spring and early in the year, but we need to have more sandbox updates more frequently. We all can say that 1.1.4, 1.2, when they changed all of the weapons, all the buffs to PvE, the exotics getting buffed for PvP and PvE, safe to say it's made the game a lot more fun. If they can keep doing that going into Forsaken or after it releases, we're going to be in good shape, guys. Now, they say in the article that they're going to lay low for the first few weeks of Forsaken, and they're going to roll out the 4 new maps and the new game mode called Breakthrough. So, what is Breakthrough? Breakthrough is going to be in a competitive playlist, and it's designed for 2 teams of 4. So this is not going to be 6v6. It's going to be 4v4 in competitive. So here's how they describe what Breakthrough is all about in the Game Informer article. So, both teams will attempt to control a single breaker. The breaker allows you to hack into the enemy vault. Once the central breaker is owned by a team, it cannot be recaptured by the other team, and the team that did not capture goes on the defensive. The team that captured the breaker will need to capture the opponent's vault before the time runs out, or else the defending team wins the round. So that sounds like a pretty cool objective-based game mode, but man, I was really hoping that Rift would eventually come back. Because look, Supremacy has been taken out of quick play. Now we only have Control and we have Clash, but man, You know what? Leave me in the comments besides hashtag made it to the end. Hashtag bring back Rift. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. We're going to get a lot more stuff from the go forward. Now that Game Informer revealed that they went to Bungie Studios, they got to interview a whole bunch of folks, they played and recorded a ton of stuff. So keep it locked in here because as they roll out stuff, I will cover it for you guys also. So guys, leave me a hashtag made it to the end if you did make it to the end. And do me a favor, drop a like in this video only if you see fit. Follow me on the Twitter at Mesa Sean. Check out my stream, usually and always on YouTube. And that is it. I am out of here like Vladimir.